You've come to the right place for the brightest stars, biggest shows, and amazing musical performances. I'm Tamsen Fadal, and it's the Broadway Show, so here we go. 10 years ago, Hamilton opened at the Public Theater, and later this year, the game-changing musical celebrates a decade now on Broadway. Trey Curtis plays Alexander Hamilton. We sat down at the Skylark. Oh, let's talk Hamilton. So, 10-year anniversary of him, which blows my mind, by the way. No way, it's only been a few years.
It feels that way for me too, and I've been in it for most of my, I want to say life now because it feels like it's been my whole life for a long time. Yeah, adult life.
What year did you go?
So my first rehearsal was in 2018, November of 2018.
Okay.
Before the pandemic, you know what I mean? And so I think I was 23.
Wow.
And so now it's been, I'm about to turn 30. You know what I'm saying? I've been in the show for so long, and it's taken up a lot of my time in the best way though. So it being 10 years is weird because I also was a fan first.
Yeah.
I learned Guns and Ships in a grocery store in Austin.
You did?
When I was in college, yeah.
Okay, tell me that story.
Yes, I was, when Hamilton dropped for the first time, it was NPR, National Public Radio, and they did Act 1, Act 2. And I remember just sitting, I took the shuttle to class. I think I had maybe an 8 a.m. math class that I decided to go to that day. And I was on the shuttle, you know what I'm saying? And I was on the shuttle and I pressed play on Act 1 and I got to see everything come to life, and I don't even know how it looks. No one really knows how it looks. And I only know from the Vine, you remember Vine, talk about before streaming, Lin and Lack were releasing Vines just talking about it being a mixtape at first. I was there then though, I was outside then. So when they dropped it on NPR, pressing play was just hearing all that come to life. For it to be 10 years is kind of, listen, I'm kind of still afraid of him. In the best way though. I'm gonna go ahead and tell this story too, if you don't mind.
I don't mind.
Listen, he came into his/my dressing room and he was sitting there already eating some pizza. And I had on a stream on TV and a gaming stream. I don't know, it was playing Fortnite or something. And all I hear is, I'm in the restroom. All I hear is, yo, are you playing this game or are you watching this game? And I know his voice too well. I still freak out to this day. And I'm playing Hamilton, you know? And he's sitting there, legs crossed, eating a square pizza. And we just get to talk. I don't know if I ever shared how deep of a connection I had to just his work with him just yet. I have gotten a chance to just chill and talk with him. He's always around. Yeah.
I think it's so special, just your relationship from growing up in it, really, in so many ways, like growing up through the years with it.
Yeah. My journey with Hamilton, and I don't want to get anybody confused, but my journey starts with In the Heights. So I was in the back seat of my parents' car learning every single lyric to that show.
Wow.
And then Bring It On came out. I learned every lyric to that. I saw that 5 times when it came through Houston. And again, I'm just a fan of what he's doing.
Was it him that you were always a fan of then, or no? What was it?
You know what it was for me?
Looking at new things that were coming out?
My dad would put me onto rap. We was playing Ja Rule, Tupac.
Yeah.
He was playing. I didn't own any of the CDs, but he would work out to these things. And my mom definitely put me onto musical theater. So that's been in my stereo for my entire life. But there was never a musical that did both. So seeing that intersection happen, it was kind of over with from there.
So then how do you get to New York from Houston, Texas?
Honestly, it was Hamilton. Now, the first time I ever visited New York, I saw my best friend, James Quentin Johnson, who is in Hamilton right now with me. It was his Broadway debut, and the first show I ever saw was Hamilton.
Wow.
And I got to see him in the show. I didn't know how I was gonna make it, but you don't ignore alignment like that, you know? So I go to LA. I go to LA after I graduate, but in LA is where I had my first audition for Hamilton.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, why? Is it?
They were
That was
looking
where they
for
were
it.
doing
So
it?
Hamilton,
Okay.
I started on a tour.
Yeah.
So they're always looking in different places for new talent, thank God, you know, and so I did get to be in the room. I did get to, oh my God, I'm sorry.
I did finish it for you, but I
thank
just
you.
didn't.
I did get to be in the room and I auditioned for, again, all those roles, Jefferson, Mulligan, Lawrence, not Hamilton.
You didn't audition for Hamilton?
I did not audition for Hamilton at first. I didn't even have that role as something to study. But I had that first initial audition in LA, and then from there, I had a callback, 2 callbacks in New York. New York is calling more and more, but they send me on tour to Puerto Rico. So I always think maybe I was supposed to travel the world before I settled down here in the greatest city in the world
And one of
to
the
play
greatest roles in
Hamilton
the world.
in one of the greatest roles in the world.
Fresh off his Tony win in 2024 for Merrily We Roll Along, Jonathan Groff comes back to Broadway in Just in Time. It's a new musical about the life and tunes of the legendary Bobby Darin.
Someday, I don't know how, I hope she'll hear my plea. Some way, I don't know how, she'll bring her love to me.
We've been developing this for the last 7 years, and knowing that it's a bio-musical about the life of Bobby Darin, but also wanting to make it feel in the present moment. And so we had this concept that I could start the show as myself, and we could bring the audience into 2025 and then go back and tell the story of Bobby Darin's life. So we're playing a little bit with form and style and tone to try to kind of recreate the in-the-moment live magic that Bobby Darin had as a performer.
One of the things that's really cool about Bobby Darin, and one of the reasons I think he's less well-known than people like Sinatra, so is he did a lot of genre hopping, which like Lady Gaga, Katy Perry, Beyonce do. And so he was doing pop, he was doing folk, he was doing political music, he was doing standards. And so you're gonna hear all those in the show, and I think it's gonna give you a real cohesive sense of Bobby Darin's voice.
The beautiful thing about Bobby Darin for me was I knew most of the songs. I didn't know all of his arrangements, and his arrangements are kick. Like, they are really, really, really special. So, and then to get a performer that's as dynamic as Jonathan and Gracie and Erica, like to deliver that stuff, that's gonna be great.
Because I want a girl to call my own. I want a dream lover, so I don't have to dream alone.
This is like my favorite kind of music. So to get to sing it, period, but to get to sing it on Broadway while telling his incredible story and celebrating who Bobby Darin was as a person, as an artist, is a dream.
Broadway has a new First Lady. Emmy nominee Betty Gilpin is Mary Todd in the comedy smash, Oh Mary. Here's Paul Wontorek with a look.
So good to see you, Betty Gilpin, on Broadway.
Yes,
Broadway life.
I know it.
Cola Scola famously said, like, the research for Oh Mary was like, a 5-minute dive on Google to research this play.
Right.
Are you digging in at all to play Mary Todd Lincoln?
I've decided I'm going to treat myself to a biography the day after
Cool.
I end performances. I feel like Cole, the artist, the creator, they want me to not know anything, so I went in with an empty brain.
An empty brain?
Yes.
And I'm assuming you don't go into every show with an empty brain.
I do the opposite. Usually I really nerd out on homework, but actually my homework for Oh Mary was more kind of asking Cole for their syllabus in terms of old movies that they loved. And I watched Gone with the Wind a bunch and Shop Around the Corner, and we would just talk about our favorite dames of old Hollywood. We both love Barbara Stanwyck, and so I kind of refreshed my Stanwyck library in my head. Cole and I have similar kind of demented dramaturgy in terms of the things that we love about old Hollywood and theater and what is both profoundly stupid and wonderful about both of those things. Yeah, that was my research.
It's thrilling to see someone at this point in your career do something like this.
Yeah.
And it feels like such a dive off a cliff because you don't see it that often.
Yeah.
Was it scary?
Terrifying, completely terrifying, but also this is not my reality either. Like, I'm not offered leads in Broadway plays. That is for the Blanchettes and the Streeps and Better Scurry. I knew that it was because Cole felt what I feel that we do, though we are very different, we do share this Venn diagram overlap of kind of the way that we make fun of and adore this part of theater. I mean, my heart was in my throat when I got that text, but I also knew, I was like, oh, I think I know that I can do this, even though I'm so scared.
I was thinking you actually probably got to see your mom on Broadway, right? And Abe Lincoln?
Yes, Abe Lincoln in Illinois.
Yeah.
She played Lincoln's sister, and Lizbeth McKay played Mary Todd.
And your dad obviously made his Broadway debut in that theater, and you grew up really around this. I know that they're thrilled that you're making your Broadway debut, but have they come to see it multiple times, or like what was their reaction to seeing it?
They just came for the first time.
It's a wild play.
Yes, it is wild.
Also, I keep debating if I want to bring my parents to it.
Oh, you got to, yes.
Yeah, I think I do.
Yeah, I think I was worried about that too. I thought, oh, are my parents gonna clutch their pearls a little bit at some of it? And they loved every second. From Lights Up, I was like, oh, there's my mom. She's in the 4th row. She was screaming the entire time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they had the time of their lives.
What I love about this play is that it's such a sensation now that people do walk into the theater kind of like going, oh, this is Omer, this is what we're gonna do. And I love watching it win over audiences who don't know what they're walking into. You know what I mean? So the first few moments, they're probably like, what is this?
Yes.
And then you just, it's like, I mean, it must be just thrilling to ride that every night.
It's so much fun. It's so much fun to be throwing that much stupidity, joy, and passion out into the void every night. Gail Rankin is one of my close friends, and you know, she was Sally Bowles in Cabaret this year. It feels like the year of our big chance, Gail and I, Broadway-wise and our childhood dream-wise, and she came to the show the other night and we were just sobbing together because we both know, you know, how much this means to both of us. It's been wonderful being an actor for my job, but it also means that sometimes it's a job. I just can't believe it. I just can't believe I get to do this show. It's so crazy. It's so wonderful. Yeah.
The Broadway Show is going to be back in just a sec. Tony-winning playwright Branden Jacobs-Jenkins is back with Purpose. The new play Purpose is directed by Phylicia Rashad. Here's Beth Stevens with another edition of Building Broadway.
Let's talk about purpose.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Well, Ms. Rashad, you've been directing for a while, but choosing a Broadway project for your first time directing on Broadway is a big deal. How did you know this was the one?
Well, I don't know that I chose it. I think it chose me. Yeah, when you receive that invitation, you gotta say yes. Why would you say anything other than yes?
What about this play moved you?
His writing. He's genius, okay? I love it.
He's listening, look at that.
I know, I gotta go.
But it's true. It's true. And he always, he'll write the familiar in the most unfamiliar way. It's beautiful. And it's complex. And yet it's so simple. I just love it. It's everything that life is. His writing is everything that life is. And as we know it, life makes the best theater.
Well, this play is a true ensemble piece. And tell me what it's like for you to find that complexity in these characters, for all of the characters, and then also fostering the chemistry and the trust in the rehearsal room among this cast.
They bring so much with them.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's really easy to build an ensemble when you have an ensemble of actors who like respect each other and who are kind of equally yoked, you know. And I think any great actor is gonna co-author the role with you in some way, so they're gonna fight for the dignity and the integrity of that character in a new play process. And That's what makes it almost like the story kind of begins to tell itself. This is the thing about ensemble shows. I think all of these characters have been drawn with such care and are just so inspired by the talents behind them. And I do think there's some performances that are gonna happen that will be talked about.
To say the least.
To say the least, yeah. So I guess, yeah, I get hesitant to, I don't want to even pick any favorites because they're all my children. You know, that's the kind of feeling I have with the characters. But I mean, obviously, the people who inspired them were the Steppenwolf actors. So those actors have been with the play the longest, and I feel like in some ways I've tailored it to them most closely. So I guess that's something to look for.
Are there certain conversations you want to ignite with your audience?
Well, that's the thing. Those things that are expressed that you didn't expect to hear about. Those little gems that creep in a conversation when one character is trying to relate to another, trying to give some information, trying to elicit some understanding. And then all of a sudden something comes in that is so relatable and so real that wasn't talked about before. And it happens in every performance. I would listen to the audience go, oh, yeah.
Welcome back to the Broadway Show. I'm Tamsen Fadal. Let's get back to it.
Gonna try and prevail, sail, razzle, dazzle, glitter, gleam. Gonna see my face in every house, on every screen. I'll be the hero, I'll change the world. And maybe in the end I'll even get the girl. Gotta believe it.
He's the writer who defined a generation, a Broadway game changer. It's the Jonathan Larson Project, a new musical experience celebrating the unheard songs of the Tony-winning composer of Rent and Tick, Tick, Boom.
We are creating a new musical and a narrative, and there's sets and costumes and all this stuff that you're used to. But of course, our writer isn't here, and we only have the material we have to work with. Luckily, he gave us many drafts of that material to kind of sift through and pick the best stuff, but we're not adding anything that he did not write. Like, every word you'll hear when you come to this is his authorship, which I think is important to note.
You know it's going to be good. It's Jonathan Larson. I keep saying that I think people think they know what I think they're walking into Rent, whether they say that or know that or not. And yes, obviously there's lots of songs I think in here. One was even like he tried to put in Rent that are evocative of Rent, but Jonathan Larson wrote in so many different genres, so many different styles. I love that he makes it cool to be earnest.
To hear work from different ages, you know, there's a song that he wrote when he was 23 that you're like, I can't believe he wrote that when he was 23. And then there's, you know, more recent work of his before, like closer to when he passed. And so just to be able to share this amazing new piece, the third ever, you know, produced Jonathan Larson musical, is a really special thing.
I think he did such a great job of trying to write music that is healing, or at least trying to write music that helps us all feel connected, whether it's like we're going through this together, like I see it too, you know, you're not the only one who's witness to these things. And so I think that's why year after year, decade after decade, it still holds, because no matter who listens to it, you're like, oh, I feel that, I understand that, or I have friends who understand that, and you're helping me understand my friends even better. So yeah, he was just really good at writing what he was witness to and wanting to change it through music, and it's amazing.
I think his legacy has lasted for so long because he's an amazing artist, first and foremost. That's like base one. But secondly, I think that he represents us. To have somebody like him, this kind of like unknown to celebrated status, gives us all hope.
This Black History Month, we're celebrating Broadway's most influential Black artists. This week, it's all about dancer and choreographer Camille A. Brown. This New York native fell in love with dance at a young age, and after working as a concert dancer and dance company owner, she made her Broadway choreography debut in 2012 with the revival of A Streetcar Named Desire. In 2022, she made her Broadway directorial debut for the Broadway revival of For Colored Girls Who Have Considered Suicide When the Rainbow Is Enough. That made her the first Black woman to direct and choreograph a Broadway play since 1955. Fast forward to today, Camille has choreographed 2 current Broadway musicals, Hell's Kitchen and a new revival of Gypsy. Brown's work has been recognized with dozens of Tony, Drama Desk, and Drama League nominations. For 2 decades, Brown's own dance company has produced works related to Black culture and the nuance of Black identity. Camille A. Brown's impact on Broadway, dance, and the Black community is without equal. Catch Camille A. Brown's commanding choreography right now in Gypsy and Hell's Kitchen, 2 of Broadway's hottest tickets.
That's going to do it for us, but for tickets or if you want to check out our extended cuts of all these interviews, head over to Broadway.com. I'm Tamsen Fadal, and this is The Broadway Show.